That I think is really hurtful. Listen, Reagan was the opposite. Reagan was the happy warrior. He was never mean.
Don't go there. Democrats can come across as nutty. Republicans can come across as nutty. It's bad ideas. You'll recall the debates we had on the Romney-Obama thing, where someone at the table kept saying, don't worry so much about the style and the messenger. These are ideas that the American people will reject, and they did. Austerity, tax cuts for the wealthy.
I want to come back to immigration for 1 second. Part of this is inside baseball, but it brings a broader question. I heard behind the scenes you had the Koch brothers and other people trying to give cover to Rubio because they did the math. They look at the demographics and they say, you can't win if you're turning off Latinos. You already lost blacks, right? And you're already doing what you can to tick off the women. You got to bring Latinos in if we're going to ever win another race. Right. But yet it fell apart. And I guess my question is, how many more of you are out there? And would those Republicans be surprised if they took on a Limbaugh or they took on the Tea Party, that they could actually win in the primaries and change the party? Are they afraid of the wrong people?
Yeah, I do. I think that they're afraid to take them on and to stand up and say, listen, I think it's hilarious, and I think Richard would agree, that they call me a rhino, a liberal Republican. I mean, I find that laughable.
It's laughable.
Right. I mean, it's laughable. I'm a liberal Republican is what they say. I think that what we need to do is people like myself need to say that we've had enough. We're going to fight for this because we believe in this sort of thing. And to Richard's point, I do believe that on the more simple stuff, whether it's gay marriage or an immigration, look, you do the math, as Koch brothers did. Hispanics will be the predominant, group electorate in our country at some point. 20 to 31-year-olds, 80% of them support gay marriage. All we do every day is kick dirt in their faces and just say, we don't want you. It's ridiculous.
You're telling me that a guy or a woman who has a principled objection to gay marriage should change their views because of the demographics?
No.
Shame on you.
No, I don't believe that. But what I do believe is they should stop the hateful talk. I have total respect for my mother who's opposed to gay marriage. I have no problem with that. She's 72 years of age, but my mother has never said a bad word about another human being. But we have people
If you leave the party, what would you do? Seriously.
I would join the Libertarian Party in New Jersey. New Jersey has a Libertarian Party. I've already looked at it, and I would join the Libertarian Party.
And the dozens of remaining liberal Republicans across the nation will join him. Your party's been captured by a combination of social extremists and rich corporate guys who fund the social extremists so they can, in the end, get tax cuts.
But when did that change? I'm sorry, Andrew. Reagan was famous. What was his commandment, the one that he had?
Thou shalt not criticize another Republican.
Right. And you used to have the Javitzes of the world who were liberals and everything but called themselves Republicans, I guess, on some fiscal issues. I'm not even saying even going to there. Look at some of the guys who got pushed out of the party. When did it change, Tom, where you weren't allowed to disagree with
I don't care. Listen, all of my friends.
When did that change?
Listen, I think that the problem is that it shouldn't have to be all or nothing. And as Richard pointed out earlier, is that what we don't like is the hypocrisy. Is that I've always made this argument. You want government out of your life, except when it comes to telling me what to do in my own bedroom. That's a hypocrite, and I can't tolerate that anymore.
But answer his question. And
look,
when did it change? It changed when the Republican electorate changed.
Yeah.
This is not the bosses requiring the electorate to oppose immigration and favor corporate tax cuts.
But Richard, for me,
this has been settled by elections.
But I remember after 08 when Obama won, who was it? Andrew Gingrich? You had a Republican who criticized Limbaugh, saying he didn't help. He had to go on the show and apologize.
Because the voters to select the candidates in the Republican Party are exactly the people Tom's criticizing.
You know who they are? They are Southern Democrats who came to our party with Ronald Reagan. They started the bad news for us because those are the same guys.
Southern white Democrats.
Southern white Democrats. Yeah, I'm sorry about it. Southern white Democrats who opposed the civil rights movement. They became Reagan Democrats. They became Republicans down the generation.
And they were welcomed
and they've infiltrated
with open
our party.
arms by Lee
Atwater
and Reagan.
No, we know that.
It's also these districts that are set up with overwhelming numbers of Republicans in them so that if you're a congressperson or want to be a congressperson and your self-interest is at stake, all you have to do is worry about challenges to your rights. So you're going to out-crazy somebody if that's what it takes.
It's an insoluble problem.
Not take on Hannity or not take on Limbaugh, because then in the echo chamber, you're going to be the bad guy forever, and you're never going to get back to Washington.
When I said these folks are being eaten by their own children, which is some Greek myth there, that's what I mean. They welcomed in an electorate with certain attitudes. They supported them, they raised them up, and now those same people are saying, yeah, we still believe what we believe when you welcomed us in, and we're going to vote.
And let's not leave Fox News out of this equation either, because with Hannity and with Limbaugh, it's just as critical in terms of Republican
They've switched
support.
on immigration, hasn't done any good.
Bill O'Reilly's for immigration.
They are more concerned about protecting corporate interests, which are the real agenda of the rich Republican Chamber of Commerce right, than they are about gay rights and immigration. If they have to change their mind on immigration, they'll do it. But on tax cuts, no.
You also can't tell your constituents, like Fox News has, for a decade or a decade and a half, one thing, and then all of a sudden the next day change your tune on it and expect them to follow.
I got to hit a break, but I'd say this much, all joking aside here, whenever anybody sticks their necks out and says something where there could be a downside, they deserve, it's easy to do the stuff on a set here, but when you're doing something where you put 30 plus of your years into it, it took
we'll
guts.
come
Absolutely.
visit you in prison, don't worry.
Why am I going to prison? Why prison, Richard?
Political prison, maybe he's talking about. Believe me, I know how Tom's doing. He'll be just fine. All right, coming up next, everybody. Johnny Manziel. Now, even if you're not a college football fan here, it's a fascinating debate we got in this morning. I want to have it with the guys at the table here. Got into trouble, the youngest Heisman Trophy winner in college history because of something he did online. And in the good old days before social media, he's a kid and he does stupid kid things. But now there's a permanent mark here for him, and it could hurt him professionally. So the question is, can kids still be kids in today's world of constant documentation? We're going to get into that conversation right after this.